And good Saturday morning to everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Huddle, brought to you by MD Home Services, Kenny Rhoda, Billy Beebe, News Talk 1480 WHBC. Happy to be with you on a Saturday morning, and it's week one, Billy. Week one already in the books of high school football, year number 78 for us on WHBC Radio, as well as the WHBCSports.com streaming game and our TV game of the week. They're in the books. Hard to believe we were just meeting like 6 weeks ago or whatever to plan all this stuff with our games as well as this new show, Saturday Morning Huddle. And here we are, week one in the books, man. Pretty exciting first week of high school football here on WHBC.
I will say so. Definitely, despite the 81 degrees in the air last night, it felt like football season. That Thursday night kickoff got us going, and we were all set for Friday. Week one in the books, a lot of great scores. We got a big show playing today.
Yeah, let's give everybody an idea of what we're going to do here each and every Saturday morning. We have guests lined up today already, and we plan on doing this each and every week. We're going to have coaches as well as players, hopefully, throughout the time here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. Coming up at 10 a.m. today, we're going to talk with A.J. Starball. He is the defending, Stark County Coach of the Year. He won the award last year at our banquet. Fairless opens up with a victory. We'll talk to Coach Starball coming up at 10:10. 10:35, Zach Slates. They kicked off our season officially with a win at home over Central, the Battle of 13th Street. So Zach Slates in his second year going to join us at 10:35. Matt Gulling from Tuslaw. Triple overtime last night, I think it was? Connaughton Valley, they beat them 49-48. Matt Gulling are going to join us at 10:50. And then at 11:05, how about this? In his first game as the head coach for the Jackson Polar Bears, the legendary player turned coach, Jay Rohr, gets a win in exciting fashion last night as they get a win over Akron Akron East. And so we will have Jay with us at 11:05 today. And in between all of that, we're going to give you the scores as you can see them on the bottom of the screen right now, scrolling across the bottom, all the Stark County teams that we cover. You'll see all the scores from week one. We'll also talk about the top players from week one. We'll take a look at Ken's top 10. My preseason poll came out yesterday. We'll see how those top 10 teams did in week one. And then we'll look ahead to next week's games and which ones we're doing on radio, TV, and stream. So a lot to get to each and every Saturday morning. And we want to also eventually, Billy, make this interactive with our viewers out there that can tune in and send us questions via the chat room here. We'll get that figured out as this is a new adventure for us here on WHBC. We want to get the people of Stark County, the fans of high school football in Stark County, involved as well. So between now and the end of the high school football season, you'll see us here, our ugly mugs, faces for radio, but in this case, streaming with you on Facebook, on YouTube, on WHBC.com, Billy Beebe and Kenny Rhoda. So we're looking forward to being a part of your Saturday mornings.
No doubt. Yeah, make sure you interact. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Leave a comment. We'll pop it up. We'll react. We'd love to get some questions for the coaches. I think everybody enjoys hearing from them. You know, they get only so much media time and so much time to kind of talk with the fans and talk with the people checking out the games each week. You talked about, Kenny, what names to get on the show today. An exciting week one start. So I know we're going to have some big questions for those guys after some big wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to chatting with all the coaches. And like we said, we'll get players on eventually and get them involved with the show as well, because they're what it's all about, right? Friday Night Lights, the high school kids, and some great performances last night individually as well as with teams. And part of our team, MD Home Services, 9191 Cleveland Avenue Northwest in North Canton. Thrilled that they are a part of our Saturday Morning Huddle, your Saturday Morning Huddle. And whenever you have roofing issues and you need someone to call for consultations, by all means, you reach out to MD Home Services. The number there, 330-970-9089. Customer service that is second to none at MD Home Services, specialist in residential roofing services for many years. So definitely give them a call if you have any roofing issues. And we appreciate them jumping on board with us. All right, let's start with the WHBC radio game of the week from last night, Billy. Division I Power Moeller, Division II Power Massillon at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. We thought it would be an exciting game, and it started off where Moeller jumped out to a 13-0 lead. Massillon came back to make it 13-10. It was 20-10 at the half, and then Moeller flexed its muscles in the second half and jumped out to a bigger lead. I give Massillon credit. They didn't quit. They fought back. Will Terrell Hartson, 4 touchdown runs and a 2-point conversion for Massillon. Kept it close or within striking distance, but they were always 2 scores behind Moeller, and Moeller gets the win 49-31 in that game. So I like that Massillon started off with not a cupcake who they could have beaten 76-0, right? They played a team that was in the state semifinals last year, lost by 1 point in the D1 state semifinals last year. And so I give Nate Moore and his team credit. Slaughter, the quarterback, had an up and down game, but he is facing top talent, speed, strength, from the Crusaders. So I thought it was a good effort by Massillon last night as they didn't quit and they were able to make a game of it, and they'll watch the film and get better for next week. What about your game?
So Hoover welcomed in Akron Buchtel. First thing I want to check out, Kenny, I hit the field. That's a brand new turf. That's a fresh turf at North Canton. A little bouncy. I kind of had that feel for it. I'm like, man, this is real fresh. And we saw that later in the game. Buchtel is very young. They've got a second-year head coach, and they're not an offensive team. And that means one thing, they're going to struggle to get their points. So they're big on the defensive line. They've got all seniors on that defensive line. They gave Hoover some trouble. We felt like Hoover was going to run the ball. Luke Roach was first-team All-Federal League last year, 1,500 yards. No doubt he got his carries, but he didn't hit the century mark. Still a terrific game. Carson Durland, the quarterback who had to take over last year as a sophomore after an injury, he's got the green light to throw this year, and he's got a terrific arm for that team. He was 7 of 8 in the first half, and he was 8 of 9 in the second half. He had a huge 3rd and 25 touchdown to the back corner of the end zone to get Hoover going to start the game. They end up winning 35-21. And I talked about the turf a little bit. Buchtel gets their first touchdown on a fumble, bounces once, the entire Hoover D-line jumps. I saw the biggest bounce I've ever seen out of a football fly back up. Buchtel finds it. It was their fumble. Next thing you know, room to run. That was their first score. Hoover controlled the game well, and they end up winning 35-21 on their new turf.
And Ashby had a huge game, did he not?
Mason Ashby, he was our player of the game. I know he's up for our WHBC player of the game. 3 touchdowns. The big one, I'd say, leads off the second half with a 98-yard kick return, in which he only had to beat one man down the field. People who slowed him down were his own blockers.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, Connor played a few years ago and was a hell of a quarterback.
Sure.
Is playing baseball now in college and everything. So the Ashby family has produced a number of outstanding athletes. So congratulations to Hoover. Let's bring in our first guest, Billy, to the Saturday Morning Huddle, brought to you by MD Home Services. And he is the reigning Stark County Coach of the Year for the Fairless Falcons. There he is, A.J. Starball joining us. Coach, thanks for making time. You are officially the Bill Murray of Saturday Morning Huddle. And here's what I mean by that, Coach. David Letterman would always have Bill Murray as his first ever guest on whatever network he was on. So you're the Bill Murray of Saturday Morning Huddle. You're our first official guest. How about that?
Awesome. It's great to be here, and thanks for doing this, Kenny.
Hey, Billy and I are excited about this. WHBC is excited about this. MD Home Services, everybody, that we can expand our coverage of high school football in Stark County because the fans are crazy for it. You saw it at the banquet the other night, the great turnout that we had, all the coaches that showed up, and that led into week 1, Coach. And we did your game last year against Sandy Valley at home. It comes down to a 2-point conversion. You guys go for it last year. And you get the 2-point conversion, you get the win 29-28. It leads to your best season at Fairless High School. But I'm pretty impressed, Coach, of the way you guys started off week 1 this week. You didn't let it come down to a 2-point conversion late in the game or overtime. You dominated Sandy Valley. How were you guys able to do that 31-0?
Yeah, we've got a lot of seniors back, as you know. We start 10 on defense, and I just thought our guys' approach to the game was really good. When we stepped on for pregame, we were really focused. We had a lot of energy. Our seniors were leading, and it started off with a kick return down to their 30-yard line by Luke Yoder, which we almost broke. We scored, and then they got maybe one first down, and we scored again, 14-0 at the end of one. Then we get an interception, and it's 21-0. And then we got a field goal. So our first 4 possessions, we scored. They only had 98 yards of offense. Peter Killey, who replaced Hunter Campbell, had over 100 yards rushing. So It wasn't just Carson throwing the ball. As you know, we like to be balanced, but I thought our seniors did a really good job of making sure our kids were focused and we were ready to go, because Brian does a really good job over at Sandy.
Coach,
Go ahead, Billy.
You had such success last season, an exciting year. You had a lot of great players with accomplishments. Coming into camp, coming into week 1, what do you tell your guys to make sure that they know it's a new year and you have to recreate your own magic this year?
Well, they know that, and I think one of the things that we've done really well is we have different guys come in and talk. We have Falcon Advantage every week, which I took from Vince Karras at Mount. So Jeff Height's been here from Hoover, who's won back-to-back state titles. TJ Downing's talked. John Heather was here, who was an All-American at Mount, and he was on the last Fairless team to win back-to-back league titles in 78 and 79. So he was a Fairless alum that came down and talked to our kids about the challenge. So we've had different guys come in and talk. And the other thing that's really exciting for us, just like last year, every week we win or we have success, we're rewriting history here at Fairless. This is our 3rd year 1-0, and we were talking the other night. No one here knows the last time we had 3 years in a row where we started 1-0. So each week it's almost something new. Our kids are really enjoying the challenge, and we're trying to rewrite history for Fairless every week and just continue to grow our program.
Culture, we hear that at every level, Coach, right? High school, college, the professional level, how important that is for a program to develop culture and, continue to grow it. How have you been able to do that? Because it sounds like you have.
I think we've always had a lot of kids here and community members that have wanted to win. And we've just got a lot of buy-in right now. And we've got people that will do whatever it takes right now. Our booster club's been outstanding. Our kids are getting a lot of gear, and we're getting a lot of equipment for the field that we didn't have my first or second year. Our administration has been very supportive. And the beauty of being at a small school is everybody's at the game. So as you saw with the Ring of Fire, Kenny, that's not fake. Our student section, right, our cheerleaders, the band, our stands at Sandy Valley, there wasn't an open seat at 6:20. My mom and my brothers and sisters showed up at 6:30 and they couldn't get a seat. So wow. Everybody in the community is invested and everybody wants to help us be successful. So once you get it rolling, things are kind of falling into place, and it's my 5th year. These seniors were 8th graders when I started. My staff hasn't changed in 3 years. So everything kind of falls into place right now, and we know what expectations are and people want to be a part of it. So it's just a really exciting time with a lot of different pieces coming together, which is what you need in order to be successful in high school football.
Coach, you talk about the pieces coming back, the big things that you have coming into another year. How big a deal is it to have a quarterback return?
Carson, it's a huge deal. Carson's a coach's kid. Hunter Wells, who is a really good football player for us here, he's his older brother. His dad's a coach, so Carson's been around the game a lot. But the thing that Carson will tell you is that all 5 of our linemen up front are back. So Carson doesn't really worry about getting hit. He can sit back there, go through his progressions, make his reads. And when you got Luke Yoder, Brody Pumneo, Gavin Conley, Andy Gill, guys that have all made plays, it makes his life easier. Carson's a really special talent. He can run and throw, and he's very accurate. He's very smart, but he'd be the first guy to tell you he's got 10 other guys out there with him that are making his job look a little bit easier at times.
Coach, the goals for this year, I remember seeing the picture last year of you holding up that whiteboard, right? Check, check, check. Are the goals longer, and are there more goals this year? Is there another whiteboard? Do you approach it the same way with the team?
The first thing we always talk about is winning the league, because if you win the league, then you're probably going to make the playoffs, and everything else takes care of itself after that. In terms of the season, we say that there's a preseason, there's your non-league, your league schedule, and then week 10 is a season of its own. So in the off season, we talk more about what we want to accomplish, and those kids know what our goals are. They know what's out there. They know where we can take Fairless football. But right now, we're just focused one day at a time, and we talk about ourselves and getting better. And the goal for this week's to be 1-0 again. So more goals are talked about in the off season, like why are we here in the weight room at 6 a.m. when no one else is, and it's April and we've been lifting for so long. But once you get into season, you get to practice every day, and there's a game at the end of the week. It's a little bit easier to get up every day and go to practice and be motivated because it's about us.
Coach, I want to jump in real quick, Billy, because I have my wallet here, right? And in my wallet is our WHBC high school football schedule, right? And we're going to hand these out. Everybody can get there. So what I like to do is I always like to look at it and see what's up next for you guys. And Tuscarawas Valley, it's a home game, your first home game of the year. How do you, here you are talking about last night's win, congratulations, 31-0 over Sandy Valley, but how do you get the kids to flip the switch, put it behind them? Do you have a 12-hour rule, a 24-hour rule? How does that work at Fairless?
I tell them 24 hours. That's what Coach Hurtler always did for us. So we just got done with film. They're watching the JV game right now. I'll be heading down there. And then it's back to work. We've already got film on Tusky Valley. And like I told you, each week is a new challenge. We haven't played Tusky Valley at home since 2018. We've played them every year, but because of COVID and things, we've gone over there. Tusky Valley's an old rival. They were in the Pac-7. They have 40 kids this year. It's the first time they've had JV in a while. So we're just excited for an opportunity to play a backyard rivalry.
Coach, you guys premiered Thursday night. Thursday to Friday, was there a big deal playing on Thursday? And it seems like you guys did fine, but was there a difference in practice and how you prepared, all that?
So I think the best thing that ever happened to me was my senior year at Hoover. We played on a Thursday against Louisville for Coach Hurtler, and we practiced on Sunday. So we do the same thing here. We were off last Saturday. Sunday was our Monday practice. Monday was our Tuesday. Tuesday was our Wednesday. Wednesday was our Thursday. And honestly, like we had coaches and kids coming in the locker room, and even though it was Monday, it felt like a Tuesday. So we've kind of programmed our kids where we control what we can control, and we had a Wednesday practice on a Tuesday and a Thursday practice on a Wednesday in our typical team feed. So coming to school yesterday felt a little bit weird because it didn't feel like a Friday. Thursday felt like a Friday, and our kids are used to it. We've Brian took over in 2017, and I took over in 2018, and we talked about playing this game on a Thursday when we first started, and we've done it ever since. So our communities love it. Our kids are used to it, and we get a chance to be on the front stage for Stark County at the beginning of the year because there's so many good schools and programs. We get our kids a little bit more recognition, which doesn't always happen. So it's just a great opportunity for us for a lot of reasons.
Thrilled to have AJ Starball with us here on the Saturday morning huddle. And AJ, the Ring of Fire. We had a lot of fun with it at the awards banquet, this past year when you were named the Stark County Coach of the Year. You guys had a blast with it. Like you said, it's grown in popularity and all that. For people out there that maybe don't know about it yet, they haven't been to a Fairless home game after a victory to see that. Tell us how that came about and kind of what that's meant to the team.
So in 2019, we always do a talent show during two-a-days. We try to have fun with the kids. And Colton Colucci, who you remember from last year, Reese Lanier, they came down our hill in a car, did the Ring of Fire, and the kids said, hey, if we win, can we play Ring of Fire? So we did it in 2019. It didn't pick up as big. And then 2020, we had COVID. So it was out there on Facebook, but it was just the football players and the band was off to the side. And I really give our captains credit last year, Colton Colucci, Hunter Campbell, because before the Sandy Valley game, they said, Coach, if we win, can we invite the student section? And that was their idea. And I tell people, it's the beauty of being in a small school. I have kids asking me on Friday, are we going to win? I said, what? I hope if we score more points than they do. And I want to be a part of the Ring of Fire, and kids that you wouldn't expect that go to a football game. But the football game brings everybody in our 4 villages together, and that Ring of Fire brings kids to the game in a positive environment that maybe they wouldn't be coming to before. So it's really taken off, and it's something cool about being at a small school. Our kids love it. It's unique to us, and we enjoy doing it.
Well, it's a big hit. We enjoyed it. We had fun with it, like I said, at the banquet. And this week, it's a home game. And if you take care of Tuskegee, then you get to do it again and start 2-0. Coach, congratulations on the 31-0 victory over Sandy Valley in week 1. Thanks for making time for us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. And I look forward to catching up with you throughout the year on the Kenny and JT show on the sidelines and maybe again here in the Huddle.
Well, thanks for having us on, and thanks for everything you guys do for high school sports. The coverage you guys do is second to none, and Stark County is a special place to be. So thank you for everything. Thanks for doing this on Saturdays. It's awesome, and thanks for supporting Fairless. We appreciate
there he is, our Bill Murray of Saturday Morning Huddle. AJ Starball, the head coach of the Fairless Falcons. Aha! Fly high, Falcons. Good luck next week, Coach.
Thanks, Kenny. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Love that, man. That guy's done a phenomenal job, Billy, of turning that program around at Fairless and where they're headed. And he's such a great guy as well. You know what I mean? He's right. He's genuine, nothing fake, nothing false about him. I follow him on Facebook, his family and everything like that. He's a family guy, and it's family first. It seems like they're at Fairless, and thrilled for him. This Stark County high school football means as much to him as to anybody that's ever coached. And I'm happy for his success. Look, we root for all 19, 20 teams, whatever it is that we cover. We want them all to have success. But sometimes you meet some guys that you pull a little bit harder for because of how genuine they are, and they're not fake, they're not phony and everything like that. That's a guy that we're happy that they're having success at Fairless.
Yeah, Fairless, a great rise right now. We know AJ Starball has been very vocal about how honored he is to be in the Stark County community. And we're excited for this program because we're going to get the chance to bring coaches on, give you a little more time with them, give you a chance to talk with them. Great appearance by Coach Starball. And you hear it over and over again, Kenny. He loves that community. We know Stark County is like that with every school, but Coach Starball talked a little bit about, the week coming up. The away games, to have a great crowd at an away game is always tremendous.
Right.
So great to talk with him about that. I want to get to one of the comments we have here.
Yep.
You mentioned it. You showed it. Our pocket schedules, we're rocking them. I got plenty right here. I'm trying to hand these out at the games. Obviously, the first 3 weeks is when you want them to make sure you have them for the whole season. Folks, you can pick these up. The WHBC studios, they are free, so stop by. That's on Market Ave. Or you can go to a friends and family credit union. You can stop by one of their locations and get a pocket schedule. Just ask for it. They'll give it to you, and you'll be set. You can check in on your favorite Stark County teams, your rivals. You got to keep track of your rivals.
I'm keeping track of everything, and so I'm texting and I'm looking down at my phone, things coming in, things going out, trying to line things up here for the Saturday morning huddle. These are great. I do. I carry it in my wallet. All right, there's mine. So I have it with me at all times, and I gave them all away the other day. So I need to here's what I need. I need one for my wallet. I need one here at home, in the office area. I need one in my car. I need one in each one of my beds. So where's the boss, Larry Gothrop? I need at least 5 more of these things. So I have them no matter where I go.
Look at that. Got to get the stack.
Dale Lamb didn't bring them last night. Dale, it's bring me some schedules so I can hand them out to everybody in the stands and everything like that. So, yeah, these schedules are outstanding, and we're happy to be able to provide them for you to follow your favorite team there. So, yeah, 31-0 Fairless over Sandy Valley. That's a nice way to start a season, Billy, after coming off the best season in school history. No letdown for the Falcons there.
Well, that's the question, right? A team that usually has struggled, they get a new coach, the community's trying to figure out what the team's going to be. They have this electric season. You talk about the Ring of Fire, the wins, the 2021 Coach of the Year and AJ Starball at the WHBC banquet. Can they repeat? Can they return? First thing you want to hear, is their quarterback returning?
Right.
Check. How many seniors do they have? I believe he said 10. Check. And then, of course, you get your coach. He talks about 3 straight years of the same coaching staff. Fairless is back. Yep. Coach Starball talked about it. Roster-wise, coaching-wise, community-wise, Fairless is back.
Without question. All right, let's focus on some of the key players, at least in our games that we covered on, Thursday night, Friday, 3 games. So 4 total games we've covered, right, to kick off week number 1. DeAndre Church with a huge game, over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half in Perry's big win over Central. What was that, 51-28, I think the final was. We have it on the bottom there, scrolling across. Huge game for him. And then last night in a losing effort, Wiltrell Hartson for Massillon rushes for over 100 yards as well. He scores 4 touchdowns, scores a 2-point conversion. So in a losing effort for Massillon last night, it was running back Wiltrell Hartson. A lot of hype surrounding him at the beginning of the year, right? And he lived up to it even in a losing effort. So who was the player of the game for you?
Definitely Mason Ashby. We talked a little bit about Hoover. I think they're transitioning to become an offensive team. Last year, Drew Logan, Mike Shimmick made them a force on defense. They won their final 3 games by a score of 61-7. So everybody was all defense for Hoover. Things have changed. You talked about his brother Connor was a big name at Hoover at quarterback. Mason's receiver, huge catches. He had 2 touchdowns on the receiving end, and then starts the third quarter out with a 98-yard kick return. So that is a weapon, is the term you like to use when he's a receiver and a returner.
Yeah, AltCare TV Game of the Week, Jason Davide, 20 carries, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Jackson running back stepping up big in their 33-27 win over Akron East. Anthony, he always hooks us up with food, and we'll get to the food thing here in just a second, because Coach Slates is coming up with us, and his Perry Panthers not only took care of business on the field, but in the press box with the spread they put out for the WHBC crew. We'll get to that. But, yeah, so Jason Davide, a big game. Jay Rohr going to join us at 11:05 on the Saturday morning huddle, and we'll talk to him about getting his first win as a head coach at his alma mater. And our next guest, let's go to him right now, Billy, because he knows a little bit about winning at his alma mater. A Hall of Fame player in Stark County at Perry under Keith Wakefield. Now in his second year. He's a veteran now in his second year. They threw a touchdown pass. Let's bring in Zach Slates from the Perry Panthers. Coach, congratulations on the week 1 win, and thanks for joining us on the Saturday morning huddle.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Coach, we joked with you at the banquet, right? You threw 3 touchdown passes in a scrimmage, and then here it is, week 1. And to me, Coach, you're battling Central, and they're hanging with you guys in that third quarter. And I thought it was the key play of the game. It's 4th and 4. If Central stops you guys, right, they get their defense off the field, put their offense on the field, and the way it was going back and forth, they could have tied the game. 4th and 4, they bring the linebackers up, and you go over the top, throw a touchdown pass, and increase that lead to a 2-score game. How important was that play? And we'll get to some of the other ones as well.
No, it was a huge play, and they brought the guys up, and they were playing tough on the inside, and Carson had a little seam play for him, and he was able to work his way outside and then get back across the field because the way the safeties was playing, he had to come across the field, and our quarterback found him and in stride for a touchdown. It was good play by both guys. Hung in there on the pass, and he hit him.
Billy, let me follow up real quick with the coach here. Austin Maddox, you started him at quarterback. We thought maybe you'd rotate. You decided, nope, he's our guy. He played the whole game at quarterback. When did you decide that, Coach, and what led to that decision? Because it obviously worked out for you.
Yeah, I mean, Carson's still going to play some Q, and we got some packages in for him to do some things. And our goal was we wanted to stay under center and run the ball and control the line of scrimmage. And we didn't want to allow them to have the ball. I mean, that was our goal. We wanted to keep it away. And because Talkington's a great player. He's a really good player, and he's tough to get down. And we were able to maintain that offensive presence, and we did a good job with our lines, and Carson was playing tailback and running the ball hard there, and so we rotated guys through, and we were able to run the ball the whole game, and we hit passes when we had to, and that's the key for our offense is you have to hit those passes when they're available. So,
good morning, Coach. Thanks for coming on with us. You're in year 2 here. Preparation, camp, getting ready for week 1. What was the biggest difference from your first year last year to this year?
Yeah, I mean, it was quick last year because when I got the job, and then this year is quick because there's not a whole lot of time when turnaround during 2-a-days. So it was good because I was more prepared for the game situations and just making those in-game decisions. As a first-year coach, it was a lot of learning, and this year I feel like I'm better prepared, and my staff is better prepared to because they have more of a role as well. I mean, it's not just me taking on a bigger role as being the head coach; it's my staff taking on bigger roles. Because, I mean, you guys know Coach Wake, and he was in control of everything. So
he's involved,
Yeah.
Coach, for you as a former offensive lineman, defensive lineman, I know the trenches determine games, right? That's the key. Talk about how you as a former offensive lineman are helping develop the O-line, the D-line, and why that's so important to that wing T offense, obviously, that you guys run there.
Yeah, and like I said at the Hall of Fame thing is that Wake, the biggest thing Wake taught me as a young coach when I was 20 years old at St. V's with him is you can't coach the kids as if they are you, because they're not you. You can't expect them to be you, and just learning how to coach each individual, and each individual might need to learn something different ways. So we have a tight end that's the first year tight end defensive end. His first year playing football. He's a senior, and he was on the soccer team up until now. And teaching him is different than teaching a kid that's played football since he was in 3rd grade. So. Yeah, I mean, our kids stepped up. We had our guard go down in the first half, and our tight end had to move over, and we had to bring the second tight end in, and they stepped up and to the challenge, and our guards did a great job getting on guys on the second level and just allowing our backs to make the cuts off of them. They weren't trying to run people over. They're just getting in their way. That's what I tell them. You don't have to have kill shots. You just got to get in people's way and let our backs make the cuts.
Coach, you mentioned obviously some injuries you've already dealt with, a little bit of quarterback competition, trying to figure out where everybody's going to go. Do you felt like that fueled your team a little bit, not only for week 1, but coming into the season in a way that they're competing, but yet they're trying to find their spots?
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that we've preached all offseason is we got to have better leadership and better leadership from everybody. It's not just the starters or the guys playing on Fridays. We got to have better leaders on scout team. We got to have better leaders on special teams. All those positions are important. And our kicker might have been the most juiced up guy on Thursday night, coming off the field after he had some touchbacks. He was all excited. So it was good to see. And the energy on the sideline with the kids was good. And in all offseason, they've been really good. They've stepped up to challenges and it's good when you have competition, because you can tell a kid that, well, this guy's going to play. If you're not doing it. So that always fuels better play on field from kids.
Ty Bogman, is that who you're talking about, Coach?
Yeah, he led off the soccer game last night with the first goal too. So
did he really? Good for him. Nice job, you kicker. Remember that from the Browns a few years ago, right? They were yelling at the kickers, but your kicker set the tone for you guys. And special teams, Coach, in week 1, so many games were impacted by special teams, including yours, with a 95, 96-yard kickoff return. How big was that, and how huge, people tend to overlook it, is special teams? Because when you think about it, it's a third of the game.
Yeah, and that's what we preach to the kids is if you give up a score on special teams, you're probably going to lose the game. It's in the 90 percentile that you're going to lose the game if you give up a score. So, I mean, having a kicker that can kick it in the end zone every time, he kicked 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 into the end zone. So when you're doing that and they're starting on the 20, that helps our defense out tremendously. And then obviously our return guy, he got a hold of one and hit the seam. And that's what we preach to him, just find it and go. Don't try to dance, just hit the seam and get going. And he did. So,
Coach, we talked special teams. We talk a little bit about the wing tee. I think you guys talk a lot about the wing tee, and the community does, of course. What about defense? What have you guys worked on? What did you think you did well on Thursday night, and what are you looking forward to this season with that defensive unit?
Yeah, I mean, we have some new guys on the D-line. There was a lot of question marks with our defense, especially after the St. V scrimmage. But I think our kids stepped up to the challenge on the D-line, and we did a pretty good job of containing Talkington as far as when he was scrambling. That was my biggest concern, is when they're sending all go and sending 3, 4, 5 guys deep, and we got the D line there to cover them, and they did a good job keeping them bottled up and running to the sideline and doing some of those things. Obviously, kind of like that's going to make plays, and on that 4th and 3, when he scored a touchdown, that's what we really pressed in the kids. We can't allow that to happen, and that's something that did happen last year a lot more. And I think in this game we did a better job of getting on him and rallying to the ball and getting him on the ground.
Coach, I'm looking at the stat sheet from our legendary statistician, Denny Kincaid here. 2 guys over 100 yards rushing. We often hear coaches, depending on the offense they run, right? Want to get a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver, and a 300-yard passer. Well, that doesn't apply to you guys, but at least 200-yard rushers. Is that a goal each and every game?
Yeah, and we had a kid, and Carson ran for 77 and caught a 27-yard touchdown. So, our backs are heavily involved, all of them. And we rotate some guys through a tailback, and they all did a great job. So, you combine those 3 guys that played tailback for us. We had 3 guys over 100 yards essentially, so 3 positions. But it was good. So I was happy with the way they ran the ball, and that is always a goal is to get over 200 yards rushing for sure. But yeah, no, they did a great job. They poured the rock.
Hey, Billy, let's give some love to DeAndre Church. We had him 20 carries, 109 yards, 3 scores. Ryder Hartsham, 7 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Coach, 15.3 yards per carry. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, yeah, they ran the ball hard, and he was one of the kids that I talked to. He was trying to get to the outside in the first half, and just told him to put your foot in the ground and get up the field, and he did. And he took off for 46, 64, something like that.
64-yard run, yeah.
So, yeah.
Coach, this week, Clarkson. I don't know anything about Clarkson. Who is Clarkson? And you're playing at Benson, right, this week? So this is you play a unique game on a Thursday night. Now this week, it's a home game for you technically, but you're not playing at your home field. You're going to play at Benson. And who is Clarkson? Tell us about them.
Yeah, they're a really good football school in Canada. Their school's Football North. They have 2 of them in Canada, and this is their main school. We went and watched them. They played Hoban last night, and they played Hoban in a close game. Until the 4th quarter, it was a 1-score game. They got some really good players. They got a DN going to Virginia Tech, and they got a really good running back that runs the ball hard. He's quick, fast. Quarterback, they run a lot of zone read. He's a real quick, fast Q, and they got a real good receiver that's probably 6'5", that they like to throw down the field to. So they're a really good football team. And it was tough to see because the past couple of years they weren't able to recruit kids into the country because of COVID.
Right. So
now they're able to recruit. So it's a different team than what they've seen in the past. So, but they always play Menor and Eds and Hoban and those types of schools. They went down to IMG last year and played them. So yeah, and they're a good football school. They play All-American schedule. They play All-American football. So they're not a part of the Canadian Football Association. So they're an American team playing in Canada.
Billy, let me follow up real quick on that because you play them this Friday night at Tom Benson, and then 2 weeks later you play Camp McKinley at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. So what is this going to be a psychological boost, I guess, is the way I'm looking at this for your kids? It won't be foreign territory for some of the kids maybe that have never played at Benson before, that you already will have a game under your belt there?
Yeah, it's just a football field. They're all the same dimensions. There's 2 goalposts. So we preach to our kids that you got to be able to play wherever. So we went on the road twice in the preseason to get our kids used to playing on the road and doing those sort of things. So
he went all Norman Dale on us right there, Billy, right? The rim's 10 feet high, the sidelines the same distance. It's just a football field. You run, you block, you tackle, you throw 3 times a game, and hopefully you win the game, right, Coach?
That's right. That's right.
Coach, talking about Stark County football, your game the other night, you guys, you boost your lead, you keep your lead, but what are you telling your guys as far as this thing's not over with 2 scores, because we know, we saw it from Massillon, we saw it from a couple other teams. No matter what the score was, they weren't done pushing.
Yeah, and that's what we preach to the kids all week. Like, if we get ahead, you got to put it down. You got to make sure that they don't get back in the game, and we did. I mean, in the fourth quarter, we had a couple scores that put us ahead, and we kept it down. So that's something we preach to the kids all week, and we got such tough football in Stark County. It's a grind every day, so every week. So you got to be ready for everybody and be prepared.
No doubt.
They're in Ken's top 10. They were in the preseason poll. They're going to move up in Ken's top 10 Stark County teams this week in my top 10 poll that I put out each and every week on the football field. And Coach, I don't know if you know this, but the culinary school there at Perry, they met the challenge. I issued it at banquet saying Northwest last year set the bar extremely high with the best press box food or concession stand food anybody had. Your superintendent said, Kenny, when you guys come Thursday, we will beat that. And I believe it's the 37-37 kitchen, right?
Yeah.
They laid it out for our guys. I didn't get to do the game because I was on remote elsewhere for the Kenny and JT show, but pulled pork, sausage sandwiches, coleslaw, all kind of different. Do you get to eat that food on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The kids all do the preparation and things like that. They're open 2 days a week to the public. And they put together some great food. They have some great menu items, and they change it every couple weeks. And they do really good. They do a great job. It's unbelievable food, seriously.
I'm hoping. I got to look at our schedule. If we're not doing another home game there at Perry, I'm going to make sure we do. We're going to flex something in there so I get to eat the food. Hey, Billy, put the couple of questions. My radio partner, JT, has sent some comments, Billy. Throw those up on the screen, and we'll have Coach see those. A little oppa, right? A little shout out to you there. And then what about this question that JT's got for you?
Where does this Goya basketball team rank when played for? Oh, we were top notch. I mean, we had me, Antonio Hall, Costa Kufis. I mean, you couldn't stop us.
You were a good screen setter, I'm guessing, back in your basketball days, right?
Yeah, me and Antonio, we were some bruises inside for us.
Oppa, there you go. JT's checking in with us this morning, watching the Saturday Morning Huddle. And Coach, we appreciate you making time for us on Saturday morning. We hope it's not the last time. We hope you have a great season, already off to a good start. 2-8 last year, but 5 games, I think, in overtime that could have went either way. And the last thing, and we'll let you go on this one, is how much did you preach about finishing this year, making sure that, those 1 or 2 point overtime losses this year are flipped around?
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with our leadership of our team and wanting to, like we preached all this week, is like change the narrative. And we got to change the narrative of what we were last year and where we're trying to go. And we got to get back to, and like Carson said in the paper, we played Perry football last night or on Thursday night, and that's what we got to do. We got to keep playing Perry football.
Coach, congratulations on the win. 1-0 start. Good luck this week. And we'll end by saying, Oppa.
Oppa.
There he is. Love that guy, man. And the food at Perry. Zach Slate's checking in with us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle, brought to you by MD Home Services. Kenny Rhoda, Billy Beebe. It's the inaugural edition of the Saturday Morning Huddle, which will take place each and every Saturday morning here on WHBCSports.com, WHBC.com, our WHBC YouTube channel, and our WHBC Facebook page. If you haven't subscribed, please do so because we're going to do this each and every Saturday, Billy, and 2 coaches down, right? AJ Starball and Zach Slates. 2 more to go as we're going to talk with Matt Gulling, a thrilling win last night for Tuslaw, and Jay Rohr getting his first win as the head coach at Jackson coming up.
Absolutely. Coach Slates just mentioned how big it is to control the overtime games, to have those overtime wins. Matt Gulling, that's going to be a big question. Week 1, I believe triple overtime.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 times the experience with the overtime stuff already. This has been a week of football. I think we got a lot of exciting stuff, a ton of good storylines, Kenny. For this show, we are live every week, Facebook and YouTube. So we put out the reminder and the preview on Friday. so you can set a reminder to have it sent to you. Like you said, you can subscribe, have it sent to you. And then best part is you're busy on a Saturday, something happens, understandable. This is going to live on our YouTube. It's going to live on our Facebook. So when you have time, go ahead, come back, watch us later in the day.
All right, I want to pull up my Ken's top 10 preseason poll because it was funny yesterday on the Alt Care Stadium show with legendary Kent McKinley state championship quarterback Rick Worstel. I rolled out my preseason top 10, and we were debating on a couple of things. And he was right, I was wrong. So I've learned to defer to Stelly if I have any questions or any, debates that we're going to have. All right, here's how I started the season, okay? Having only seen highlights, read papers, talked to coaches and whatnot, I had it this way, my top 10 from 10 to 1, all right? I had Northwest at 10, Hoover at 9, Jackson at 8, Perry at 7, Canton South at 6 with Pucci at quarterback, Lake at 5, Alliance at 4 because of Zerberg, the quarterback, Fairless at 3, McKinley 2, Massillon 1. All right. So when we look at this, Northwest, John DeMarco got a victory in week number 1 at number 10. So kudos to them. Brian Baum and the Hoover Vikings, a victory. You did the game, the WHBCSports.com streaming game. Jackson, huge win for Jay Rohr and the Polar Bears over Akron East. 7 Perry. We just talked to Zach about that. Victorious. Canton South, a high-scoring, tough loss in week number 1. We'll see how they rebound from that. The Lake Blue Streaks played the Aviators of Alliance. So it was 4 versus 5 in week number 1. And my goodness, what a great game for Lake last night. They get the win. Alliance comes up on the short end. We talked with AJ Starball, Fairless. They were victorious in their game on Thursday night in convincing fashion. McKinley went on the road, played Mentor well. They lost last night, 34-21. And then we did the Massillon game. They lost to Division I Moeller, 49-31. So a new top 10 will be out Monday morning on WHBC.com and WHBCSports.com. And we'll talk about it each and every week here on the Saturday morning huddle. Again, brought to you by MD Home Services, Billy. So I'll keep doing this all year long. I get input from guys like you and Dan Belford, good, Denny Kincaid, and everybody else. So by the end of the year, you hope your team's in the top 10 at the end of the year, maybe not so much at the beginning of the year, but we're going to continue to do this and have fun with it.
Yeah, I'll give you your props. Not bad on the top 10. I think everybody came through for you. And I got to mention, McKinley Massillon, it's going to be tough. They took on some big competition. So I think everybody's waiting to see by week 5 what we're looking at with those teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Antonio Hall, they're not going to shy away from anybody. Same with Coach Moore there at Massillon. And like I said, we did the Massillon game last night, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game of the week. And Massillon could have rolled over. It could have been a running clock in the second half, but they fought back and made a game of it. And, it was good to see that they didn't quit, and they'll build off of that. But we want to get to our next guest because maybe the most exciting game in week number 1 took place with Tuslaw and Conotton Valley. And so let's bring in Matt Gulling, the head coach for Tuslaw and the Mustangs. Coach, how you feeling this morning? Anytime you win, it's great, but in that type of fashion, I'm guessing there were a little nerves last night. Did you get over that?
Definitely. I'm exhausted. I know that. It was a great high school football game. Our kids really fought. We got down late, had to go about 60, 70 yards with about 2 minutes left to go in the game just to tie it and send it to overtime. And it was a crazy game, no doubt about that.
Coach, was there any sort of drive or moment that you felt like something happened and you thought to yourself, there's no way we can lose? That went right for us. There's no way we can lose.
It wasn't really necessarily anything like that. We felt like we played really well all along, especially offensively. We moved the ball up and down the field. We fumbled a kickoff, and they went down and scored. And then we came back, and we were going in to score again, and we had a ball punched out on about the 10-yard line, and they went down and scored. And credit to our kids. in the past we might not have recovered like that, but we really just kept playing and fought back and scrapped and clawed away to find a way to get a win.
Coach, give us a little idea of what the expectations were coming into this season. And every coach is different. Every team is different in whether goals are set and you talk about them or not. What was the offseason like and those goals leading into week number 1 and you're 1-0?
Really, I mean, we talk about league titles, playoffs, everything like that, just like everybody else does. Our overall goal really is just to change the culture here. So we need to get that away from, in the past, we've kind of found ways to lose games rather than find ways to win games. And we built some confidence in the preseason. And then last night, like I said, it's one of those things that could have gone either way. And it's just a good sign for our kids' mentality and approach to the game, because we know what lies ahead. With the Pack being such a brutal league, and we got a very, very good Dalton team coming up this week. So one game at a time, play the next play. That's kind of just been our philosophy going forward.
Coach, we've mentioned to everybody game plan, preparation coming into the week. When you get out of, we know the first half you're making adjustments, but when you hit overtime 1, overtime 2, is the game plan changing every time, or is there something you're really driving home you feel like it's going to win it?
The game plan changes, but at the same time, we want to do what we do. So offensively, we just kind of kept plugging away. They were mixing up their defense pretty well, whether they were in a 4-man front or a 5-man front. So we were really able to kind of pick and choose our spots when we wanted to run and throw, and we were pretty balanced all night. The hard part last night is Canton Valley didn't have a kicker, so they went for 2 every single time. So it was kind of that back and forth. Do we need to go for 2, go for 1? And credit to, we had a freshman kicker that's never kicked in a varsity game in his life, and he went 6 for 7 on extra points. The only one we missed was partially blocked, and he kicked a extra point with 40 seconds left to go in the game to tie it and send it to overtime. And you would have never known he was a freshman, Luke Ruling. I mean, the pressure and everything, he just trotted out there, kicked it, and I think it helped him being a freshman. He didn't really understand what was going on, but he did a great job for us.
In a kind way, Coach, we use this term in sports, and I'm not, speaking negatively of the kid, but sometimes they're too dumb to know, or we always say they're too stupid to know any better, or they're too young to know any better, right? He just, hey, I go out, I kick the ball, put it through the uprights, no big deal, even though the game's on the line, right?
Right. In that case, inexperience and everything might have been working for him, because you wouldn't have known that the last extra point was any different than the first one.
Coach, talk about some of the key players, not only in your game last night, but the guys that you're going to be counting on heavily this year for Tuslaw, like you said, to turn things around and build the culture there.
We're kind of an interesting team this year. We're really young in the fact that over half of our roster is freshmen, but we have a good senior class that got some experience. So kids like Tommy Snyder is a really good receiver for us. Landon Shirley stepped up big last night at receiver. Troy Harbeitner is a 3-year starter at quarterback coming back. Devin Van Nest has played. Ryan Frascone. I mean, we got some guys with experience mixed in with a lot of youth. So it's kind of a weird mix right now.
Do you feel like a younger team pays off for you in a lengthy game like that, Coach?
In some ways, yes. Definitely, though, the experience of the seniors last night. Haven't been in some – we played an overtime game against Loudonville last year, some games down to the wire. Some of these seniors have saw pretty significant minutes as sophomores, so that really helped. And some of our younger guys are going to have to grow up quick. I mean, I think there was a time last night late in the game on our kickoff team, we had 3 freshmen out there running down the field. So it's kind of nerve-wracking at the same time, but kind of like Luke, the kicker, they don't know any better, so they just go play.
Coach, did you have a relationship with Donnie Hurtler Jr. In the past and scheduling this game? And what did you guys say to each other after that one ended last night?
Well, actually, Coach Hurtler gave me my first coaching job ever. So
okay.
I was 20 years old, taking classes at Kent Stark, and I was a senior at Louisville playing quarterback, Coach Hertler's first game back at Hoover.
Really?
And we beat them. We beat them in overtime. And so, yeah, I've known him for a while. I mean, obviously a legend.
Yep.
After the game, I mean, of course he was great. He just said he's happy for me and our program. And I kind of asked him, how in the heck have you done this for so long?
Right. And coming out of retirement, right?
Right. So, I mean, we knew coming in when we scheduled them. I'm like, it's Canotton Valley, but Coach Hertler's coaching them. They're going to be physical and they're going to be well coached and disciplined, and that's exactly what they are. They're going to win. They're going to win a lot of games this year.
Did you tell him you got him again in overtime? Once as a player, now as a coach, or no?
That might come later, but
all right.
Coach, you talked about kind of how you guys reacted after the win. You know, kind of how emotional it was for you. Triple overtime. The community is excited. Your team's excited. How long does that last for you before you have to move on?
We talk about it. We want the kids. We mentioned it a bunch last night. Wins are hard to come by. So a win is a win. I don't care if it's by 50 or by 1 in double overtime, whatever it might be. Enjoy it. We came in, watched films. Kids just got out of here a couple minutes ago. And then they know coming back, enjoy it this weekend. And then Monday, we got to get ready because we got a very good Dalton team next week.
Yeah, they put up some big numbers this past week, Coach. What are the challenges already? I know you're going to watch more film throughout the week, but what do you know about them, and what are going to be the keys for your team next week against them?
They're just solid all around. Offensively, defensively, they got a mix of everything. They got some great skill. They got a really good offensive and defensive lines. Coach Dial always has his kids playing tough physical football. And they do a lot of stuff. So they can be anywhere from empty no back one play to double tight power eye the next. So it's really just we got to be focused on what they're doing. And at the same time, though, we got to get better at doing what we do.
Coach, many years of experience for you. Obviously 4 at Tuslaw. What have you seen when a team wins in week 1? Do you think that's a momentum carrier, or is it more of just that's week 1, let's move on?
Definitely. It's good for momentum, and it kind of works both ways. For us trying to get back to where we want to be, it's huge for momentum and confidence. And at the end of the day, they're still high school kids. Confidence and things like that go a long way. So, I mean, it's the first week 1 win we've had since 2018. So, I mean, we're happy, but we also know we got a long way to go and we got a lot of room for improvement.
Interesting you bring that up because we just had AJ Starball on the Saturday morning huddle, and he said, look, 3 years in a row now that they've won their first game. They're trying to build the culture there, right? All these things matter, don't they, when you're trying to turn things around?
Yeah, definitely. Every little thing and everything that you can do, even in practice, trying to compete, put them in some tough situations, and just get that mentality of we're competing and winning. Our kids we got to learn how to win, and that was even going back to our Sandy Valley scrimmage, their second scrimmage. They scored to start. We came out and fumbled right away, and we ended up turning around, got an interception, and went down and scored a couple touchdowns. So just being able to rebound and not that old, here we go again type thing. So anything like that is huge for us for confidence.
Coach, thanks for making time for us on the Saturday morning huddle. Congratulations. Last thing before we let you go, first ever 3 overtime game and 3 overtime victory for you as a coach or a player?
2 overtimes.
2. Okay. All right. My bad.
It might be. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know we've played a lot of overtime games, it seems like, here in the last few years, but I think that's the first ever. It's for sure the first ever double overtime win. I know that.
All right. Well, now that it's a double overtime win, you'll be prepared in case it goes triple overtime next time. You'll know what to expect, right?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, try that every week, Coach.
I don't need any more of those.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you throughout the year.
All right. Thank you.
Matt Gulling checking in with us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. My bad. I thought it was 3 overtime. It was only 2.
Yeah, I also had heard 3.
Yeah, but yeah. So either way, you're talking extra time on a hot night on a Friday night like that. And like you said, with a freshman kicker, kickers get overlooked, man. And that's why I was happy the Browns drafted Cade York, because
Right.
Bill Belichick thinks kickers are important. Jim Tressel thought kickers were important. And between those guys, 6 Super Bowl wins for Belichick as the head man, and Jim won 5 between Youngstown State and Ohio State. So kickers matter, man. And kudos to Tuslaw for getting the double overtime win last night. And kudos to Coach Gulling there trying to turn things around.
Talking about kickers, you don't want to be noticed, right, Kenny? You just want to make your extra points and hit a nice 25 or 30 yarder if needed. But we've seen in Stark County there's been some real talent at the position, and I think the county and teams coming against Tuslaw, they're going to notice, okay, their kicks, they got a good chance at making them. They got a good chance. Maybe Connaughton Valley's thinking to themselves, man, we need to find a kicker. Going to every time is tough.
Yeah. Robbie Smart last year for Hoover, Paxos at Jackson last year. Mills, when Central won the state championship, was a huge factor for Trucker Lindesmith. And Central set a record at Ohio Stadium in a state championship game. Hit a field, I think it was 49 yards maybe, right before the half for them. So kickers matter. 3 points, 1 point, it can determine the outcome of the game. So all those things matter. Hey, Billy, why don't we let, before we get to Jay Roy, how about this? There is Coach. He's going to check in with us. So we're going to get to Jay Rohr, the head coach at Jackson, and welcome him into the Saturday Morning Huddle right now. And then we'll tell you about our games next week. So bring him in. There he is, the first-year head coach in his first ever game as a head coach for the Jackson Polar Bears. And Jay Rohr is able to get a victory at home in convincing maybe a little close at the end there, but they played very well throughout the entire game. Coach, congratulations on your first win in your first game at Jackson. How did that feel last night?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Make sure
You're
it's
good.
clear. No, it felt great. Obviously, again, a lot of emotions, both from our coaching staff, myself, our team. But obviously, those are great emotions to have. Again, you got to give credit. Akron East is a great football team, like you said. I know it was a close game, but our kids played hard, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Coach, 7-0 at half. What goes on in the second half that not only your team but Akron scoring 2? What kind of offensive explosion happened there for both teams?
In all honesty, it's something that, again, I think you look at the course of the game. I think, you're talking about 2 great opponents, or 2 good teams, I guess I should say. Again, Akron East, I give them a lot of credit. I give us credit. I think what ended up happening, to be honest with you, is I think we beat each other up and we wore each other down. And you had a lot of tired bodies in the second half. And that's exactly it. You had multiple explosive plays on both sides of the ball. But again, we were blessed to come out on the end.
All right, so Jason Davide replaces Brendan Craig, and all you lost there was 3,000 career rushing yards, right? You know a little bit about that and everything from your playing days. And talk about what Jason has meant to you guys as a senior who played some last year, taking on a bigger role and had a huge impact with over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns in your win yesterday.
Yeah. Again, Jason, first and foremost, is a great kid, has great character, is a great student. He's another kid that was nominated by 99 peers to be a captain of this football team. And you touched on it, he's coming back from the defensive side of the football last year and playing and being a key contributor. And so he knew coming into it, we have the utmost confidence in him. He has extremely high expectations of himself. And again, it was really a decision that we made as a coaching staff, that Jason's the guy that has speed, has some athleticism, and has the physicality. And our goal was to get him the ball. And again, to be honest with you, he took it and did the rest.
Coach, you're our final coach guest today. I want to talk about the weather. You guys start off at 81 degrees yesterday locally. The sun's out, the sun's shining. How does it feel to start the season like that compared to in a couple weeks? I think we'll be sitting at about 55 and a little more fall weather.
Hey, I've lived here my whole life, and this is Northeast Ohio. You, you never know what to expect, but yeah, I think it was a beautiful day. You can't ask for a better day for us. Obviously, opening night on a Friday night football, and that's obviously all teams in Stark County. But beautiful night, and again, we knew coming into it the cramps and guys getting tired and so forth. So we had to rest some guys, but you can ask for Friday night football, 81 degrees out, going down to 70, 75. That's Stark County football. That's Northeast Ohio.
All right, Coach, help me out. You've been an assistant before, so you've been on the sidelines, right? You coached, but
Sure.
You're the head man now, right? Saturday morning huddle, Saturday morning quarterbacks. If you win, kudos, Coach. If you lose, why the hell did he do this, right? So it's a change. What's it like for you now as the head coach at your alma mater and getting your first win under your belt? Because I saw a photo of you last night that Derek Philo from our TV crew took where, the players are all in the end zone celebrating, and you kind of just stood back and you watched. Your head was down. I'm guessing all kind of different emotions. Well, what's the change been like, and what was last night like for you?
Yeah. Again, being a graduate in an alma mater and being a player for this team, I just have, again, a lot of, a tradition. There's a lot of tradition here in regards to how the game's played and being and what it is to be a Jackson Polar Bear. And there's nothing more there's nobody else that puts more pressure on myself, our coaching staff. We live in a great community that they have high expectations as well. And, I just couldn't be more happy for the kids. They bought into the environment that myself and our coaching staff has worked on creating. And again, it comes back, I give our previous head coach, Tim Budd, a lot of credit because he came in and did a phenomenal job at changing the culture and changing the environment. And I'm just looking to add to it. And our players have bought into that. So you're not lying, me having my head down and looking at our team and listening to them sing the alma mater. It just, again, it's something that, I've loved, I'll continue to love. And again, just happy for our players, our coaching staff, and our community getting this first victory.
Coach, year one for you, obviously very exciting in week one there, but is there something you think you want to bring specifically to this team and your program that you think you're going to put an emphasis on and that we're going to see as the season goes on?
Yeah, I don't think it's a change from the past, but I'm just again, something I started a few years ago that we've kind of taken in, and that's that we, not me mentality. When you have numbers, and I'm very proud of our numbers from our youth program all the way up to our high school program. When you have numbers, you're not always going to please everyone. You can't get everyone on the field, and I think that's the thing that I have to stand by. That I'm most proud of is we have guys that are selfless guys that believe in the team concept, believe in the we. And I think that's what I'm going to continue to preach moving forward. If we continue to take anything in, be a team player, because I think the more successful you are, it's going to come from guys that are willing to fight for one another from top to bottom.
All right, Coach, everybody's different as a head coach. How long do you let the guys enjoy this one before you turn the page and you look ahead to week number 2?
Now. We did. We just watched the film and everything else, and that's how we just address the team. It is. I mean, as much as I want to enjoy it, and again, I don't care if you win by 1 point or you win by 20 points. A win is a win in Stark County and in the Federal League, no matter who you're playing. And I did. I told the guys to enjoy it, but at the same time, we're moving on. We got to correct the mistakes that we made, and obviously keep moving forward on the plays that we were able to make. But it's now on the Mayfield.
Coach, we know you're a Jackson guy. You played there. On the sideline, as you've coached over the years, is there times where you've been like, thank God there was Jay Rohr, the player, because I know this because of that?
Yeah, and I think that just comes again with the, trying to create the environment. In critical situations or third down or fourth down, it's being positive with the players and creating being motivating to them to say, hey, it's 3rd and 1. Jason, we need a first down, or Ethan, we need this first down. It's time to go get it. And it's those type of things that, you grit your teeth, you clench your fist, and players understand what that kind of means, and they're hungry. And again, I think we have a group of 100 plus guys that I think between myself or any guy on our coaching staff, that they'd run through that brick wall. So I think it's just that demeanor and selling it to them and them seeing it, they know what it means, and then now it's going and getting it done, and they do that. So
quarterback play, Coach, how happy were you with what you saw last night from your quarterback?
Ethan, again, just like Jason, nominated to be a captain by 99 guys. He has, we as a coaching staff knew, there's going to be a quarterback battle between him and Joe Lattarulo. And Ethan really, kind of took over. And, again, he's a guy that also wants those high expectations. He believes in himself. He knows the coaching staff believes in him. And, I couldn't be more proud of Ethan, the way he controlled the huddle, the way he was a leader on the sideline, and obviously, again, the way he played the game. So the utmost confidence in him. I'm proud of him. And again, we're ready to move on to Mayfield.
Good.
Coach, no, Coach, I'm excited for you. I know how much it means to you, and you get the first one under your belt, so the monkey's off the back, if you will, right? You don't have to worry.
Amen.
When's that first one coming, right? Amen to that. And now let's just focus on the rest of the football season with Mayfield in week number 2 and throughout the year. So kudos to you on that. And it was on TV. It was our TV game of the week. So that one's documented. You can watch that one, not just the all 22 film. You can watch the replay of that at some time. I understand you don't want to do it now, but at some time you'll be able to go back and watch that one as well.
When you say the monkey's off the back, that's exactly my son's. I have to tell you guys this story. The monkey's off the back. My son goes, Dad, I hope you guys win tomorrow. And I said, well, thanks, Jordy. And he goes, just so you know, the whole community is counting on you. And that alone. So when you talk about expectations, and that's coming from your own 10-year-old son, it is great to get the monkey off the back. So I appreciate it.
Hey, congratulations, Coach. We look forward to catching up with you throughout the season on the radio, here on the Saturday Morning Huddle, and on the sidelines as well.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks very much.
Here he is, first-year head coach, first game, first win, all in one Friday night for Jay Rohr at Jackson. How sweet is that, right?
Yeah, pressure from your own kids. Gotta love that. It's real. You can't win or go home at that point.
Right. Yeah. If you lose, where are you going? You're going to a hotel probably, because the kids don't want you in the house if you can't get a victory like that. Hey, why don't you put up the schedules or the games for week 2 next week? All of the games in Stark County. We'll scroll that across the bottom, and you can look and see who's playing where and everything next week on 1480 AM WHBC Mix 94.1. We've got Marlington at Northwest, the Alt-Care WHBC TV game, Poland Seminary at Louisville. And then, Billy, you've got on WHBCSports.com the streaming game of the week next week. You've got a good one that you're looking forward to, Louisville at Northwest, right? Or no, wait, I'm sorry.
North Olmsted at Green.
Okay, North Olmsted at Green. All right, then I got an old schedule here. I'm going to throw it here. You know what I'm doing with this one right here? There we go. That's I'm throwing that baby away. So you got
from the source here. I'm going to Green.
I was going to say, yeah, I couldn't get that better from anybody else. But we're looking forward to year number 78 because we have a lot of teams that have potential. We have some teams that have high expectations. We have great quarterback play, I think, this year in Stark County, and there are going to be players, kids who emerge this year in Stark County. And between our streaming game of the week, our TV game of the week, and our radio game of the week, okay, we're going to have it covered for you in 3 different venues, avenues, whatever outlets, however you want to call it. And then on top of all that, the Kenny and JT show, we'll have coaches on throughout the week previewing their big matchup that week. And then every Saturday morning, you and I are going to get together at 10 a.m. here on the Saturday Morning Huddle, brought to you by MD Home Services. And we're going to recap the night before and talk to as many coaches or players or a combination of both as we can about their big win from Friday night.
Facts are, it answers the question, what happened last night? I think that's the biggest thing we can do on this show every single Saturday. Like you said, WHBC, they're in year 78. We're in year 78. We're full coverage all week long.
Yep.
Like we said, this video is going to live till next week. You can watch this over and over. If you missed an interview, go back and watch it. Facebook, YouTube, WHBCsports.com. Mark Miller, Dan Belford, Ken's Top 10. It's all there. Breakdowns. Denny Kincaid's got all the stats for you. So getting prepped for what is a huge time in Stark County with high school football, Kenny, I think we've got it all. It's safe to say we've got everything. You guys have coaches. Pam's got Dan Belford every Friday morning on her show. So you can tune in for that at 7:40. And I mean, what are you missing at this point? There's so much being covered by WHBC and WHBCsports.com.
All right. So your crew is who? Who's on the streaming crew? Who is it that brings the games to everybody at WHBCsports.com?
It's myself and George Bazika. I'm nicknaming him the mad scientist of stats and more this year. We're very excited. George is a Stark County guy, born and raised. You know, we welcome in Akron Buchtel to Hoover last night, and he's telling stories about Buchtel. Coach Flossie passed away this past year, so it was great to, as the game kind of shifted one way, George got to tell us a little bit about Coach Flossie, about his dad. So very interesting stuff from him, and he's always got great Stark County stories.
Yeah, so that's the streaming crew. And then, of course, the TV crew, Frank Salona, Coach Elmer Sheets, Derek Philo, Bob Jeffries helping out as well. Our radio crew, Dan Belford. No, Frankie, you can't be part of the crew. That's the great thing about doing this from home. Frankie is losing his mind whenever the FedEx guy the Amazon guy comes to the door.
Right.
But the radio crew, Dan Belford, yours truly on the sidelines, Denny Kincaid with stats. And, of course, Mark Miller, the former Cleveland Browns quarterback, Bowling Green quarterback, and Canton South quarterback. So we've got great teams covering the games for you on radio, on stream, as well as on TV. And we're looking forward to bringing you more games and more of the Saturday morning huddle with you here on YouTube, Facebook, and our website. And, again, a shout-out to our title sponsor, MD Home Services, providing full roofing consultants and consultations, specialties. They have their specialty is in residential roofing, is what I'm trying to say. Customer service that is second to none. 9191 Cleveland Avenue Northwest, North Canton, 330-970-9089. And I think Frankie's telling me we need to end this edition of Saturday Morning Huddle because it's time for him to do his business, if you get my drift, after we just completed ours for about an hour and 20 minutes.
No doubt. Great week. We thank all the coaches again for coming on.
Yes.
Great to talk with them. And MD Home Services, that A+ from the Better Business Bureau.
How about that?
You got to see it. You want to see it.
We're going to try and get an A+ rating for this show. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll hope we can be as good as MD Home Services. And thanks to Zach Slates, Matt Gulling, AJ Starball, and Jay Rohr for joining us in this inaugural edition of the Saturday Morning Huddle. And we'll get as many coaches on throughout the year and each and every week, as well as players as we can, Billy. Great job.
Good stuff.